friends, in this lecture we will be discussing about the default return type of a function in Python. Suppose that I make a function called fun1. Suppose this function is intended to do nothing, so I can just pass the value. That means it is just a function of name fun1 and it is doing nothing. So far so good. Now suppose that someone asks you what is the return type of this function. Now in C, C++ as well as in Java, you have to mention the return type of a function, which is the first placeholder in the function signature. So the highlighted text should have been the return type, but in Python language it is the def keyword, which means that you are now going to define a function. So how you can know what is the return type of fun1? Simply what you have to do, you have to use the type function and you have to mention the function. Now whatever the function will return will be passed to type, and type will tell you what is the class of the value that is returned by the function. So from this highlighted text I am going to call the fun1, and now you can see that a none type value is actually returned by fun1. So you may conclude that none type value is the default return type value of any function. I will further support my argument using this example. Suppose I make a function 2 and I just write return. This function is perfectly fine, but the feature that Python is going to use is not known to many programmers. So that's why I am here. And suppose I again type the type function and I call the function 2. This return is actually nothing but implicitly return none. That means a none type value will be returned. This further supports my argument that the default return type of a function is none. Now suppose I make another function def fun3. If I write 1 is greater than 2, return true, otherwise return. Can you judge what will be the output of this program? Suppose I am writing type fun3. Now try to predict what will be the output of this statement. I will help you certainly. If 1 is greater than 2, this condition is obviously false, since this is universal truth that 1 is always less than 2. So this statement is never going to be executed, obviously. So this statement will be executed, and as you can deduce that from function 2 we know that return is nothing but class none type. So this function should also give us none type as expected. Suppose I reverse the condition. Suppose I redefine function 3 and I just reverse the condition in the if statement. And I again call the type. Now you must be able to tell what will be the output of this program. If this is true, then you are wrong. If this is none type, then also you are wrong. Actually, this 1 less than 2 is always true. So definitely return true statement is going to be executed. But true is actually of type bool, which is being told by this type function as highlighted on the screen. Now I am going to tell you when you should use this feature, that is only return, and when you should explicitly mention the return none. That means suppose I write function 5 and I explicitly write return none, although this is equivalent to return. That means this function and this function, fun5 and fun2, are equivalent in every aspect. Then when should we mention only return and when we should mention return none? Actually, this depends on the experience in your team. That means if the team consists of experts in Python, that means every member of your team is quite comfortable in working with Python, you can write this. That means this feature is known to every programmer. But you should write this for enhancing the readability even to a common programmer. That means uh, to a novice. If some novice reads the program, for enhancing the code readability, you should write return none so that the programmer is comfortable in reading and as well as understanding the code. We can verify that function 2 is equivalent to function 5. Suppose I write type of fun5, this is giving none type value, and function 2 is also giving none type value. So now we can check that by default any function in Python returns a none type value. You can mention none type value explicitly or you can mention it implicitly depending on the experience of your co-workers. Hope this video was quite fruitful to you. Thank you.